Hi, this is Andy Turner, the Education Technologist at Illinois College. Today I wanted to show how to use Google Spreadsheets so that you can take information from a spreadsheet and then send it over to an HTML web page so that other people have access in a way that's intuitive. So in this case, we basically are going to have two items. We're going to have a spreadsheet where user A has access, and in this range, whatever data the user enters in here will be protected. Now that's going to yield a result such that you'll have a web page that user B can access, or a group of people that depends upon what has been changed in A. So I will show you what that means. I will go ahead and erase this diagram real quick. I am in Kirby 6 at the moment. So let's take a look at, with the mouse, the spreadsheet. And what I've done is from my email, I've just clicked Google Drive. And in Google Drive, I've created a folder called Moodle. And in Moodle, by creating a new spreadsheet, I've found this that this works pretty good for entering in data that has to do with, specific things that might change on a daily basis. In this case, Moodle courses. So I have some more data here that other users might not need. For example, availability, access, and changes that I need to make as an administrator. Also notes to myself. Now, for the first three columns of data, we have here course number, instructor, and course name. Now this data was just, copied and pasted from Moodle manually, but this list is something that I think a lot of users might, the idea of having a list is something that a lot of users might benefit from, whether that's your own attendance for over the course of a semester, or your own ordering of materials for your office or for your department. Any list that contains data about things, whether that's financial data, whether that's grade data, whatever data you're working with is the point here. So in this case, the data that I'm working with is to have a list of all people who requested Moodle courses. Now, to keep track of all this has been a challenge. All 50 or some odd courses times, requests and changes and updates and modifications and things per course. Now, the amount of email, trying to keep track of all this in an email is extremely difficult. So if you send out a web form, this spreadsheet will be populated automatically. Long story short, what you can do is script this kind of spreadsheet data such that it produces, for example, what you see here, a clean web page where when you navigate to this, you see a web page that has data, kind of like the way Connect 2 works. You have a user-specific credential where just any user cannot get to this. In this case, anybody at this domain, mail.ic.edu, can get there. So in other words, any faculty can see this, but not people outside of Illinois College. Say for example, my own personal Gmail account can't access this web page. Only people at mail.ic.edu can access this web page. So the way this works is that you create an HTML page when you go in Google Spreadsheets, Tools, and then the Script Editor. Now this is a highly technical procedure, but it is something that someone who's interested in JavaScript can use to sort of tweak and change the data according to their needs for a report. Say you had a list of data where each user wanted a list of their own courses. Well, I wouldn't send out this whole list to all faculty so that they could just look at it themselves and everybody knows who each person has and what course each person is teaching. It's not really relevant. It's only relevant in the scope of a specific group. So for this group, say I wanted to send an email containing per teacher list of courses. I could script that in a way where it would send an email, or I could send a web page per user so that one specific instructor would have a web page, or basically a report of data that corresponds to some subset of the spreadsheet. So this spreadsheet has a grouping of parts of this spreadsheet. This is a workbook that you say in Excel terms. It also has a sheet, in this case down here, sheet 1. But then if you go into view, under data, you see named and protected ranges. Now notice I've got this range, A2 to C53. A2 is underneath the data because this is the header column, the header row. So I want A2 all the way to the end of the list. So this range can be protected. One range of the spreadsheet can be protected to a specific group, and another range can be protected so that only another specific group of people can access or change, modify this information. So you have the authorization and the authentication with using your own Google Apps identity, in this case your email address at mail.ic.edu. So we have this range that we're going to modify, and in the Moodle script we see that my code.google script says I'm going to do a do get, which is an automatic function that is run when you access a web page, in this case this web page. The do get out of the box has a wonderful HTML service that has a create template from file method from this HTML file called my template, and then it evaluates the code embedded in that template, which lives here in my template. So in this template it's saying get the data and make an HTML table. This PHP like syntax is templating like you might see in modern JavaScript frameworks for templated HTML. But the Google script basically says call that my template HTML and evaluate the code. Now the code has a call here to get the data, and the data is this key in the spreadsheet. This key in the spreadsheet is this portion right before the hash here and right after the equal sign there. That is this, and like we said earlier, the range is this list. Moodle 2013 is this range. So I'm just basically modifying or displaying, in this case, this range. Now the code to do this basically just gets all of the range and produces an HTML page, and here we have it. This HTML page is visible on a mobile browser, and it's just a quick way to give an HTML report where you wanted an end user, say for example prospective students, to see a list of all available Moodle courses. So this is the answer to the question, can I just have a list of all of the Moodle courses? And the solution to that problem would be yes, you can. I have created a spreadsheet that pulls from various resources. I've created a web page routine that gets that specific subset of data, and I've deployed it as a web page that grants specific users access to that subset of data. So this is a way to basically put Excel in the browser. Now you can create controls here to filter the data, say filter by ascending and alphabetically, select an instructor and then list the courses, and make these links to the actual courses just like Connect 2 does. So this way you're able to build your own interface to the data is what I'm saying here. Now I've also created, just as a demonstration, another tutorial that when you go to, say, in this code, this is all from developer.google.com/apps-script. So I did not write all this JavaScript code. This is all for free. When you paste this out of the tutorial, the only thing that I modified was that, notice here we have that Moodle 2013 again. I'm getting that range from the spreadsheet, and I'm saying get those rows, call this function and give it to that collection. Now in this case I will say the third row, instructor, is this, and there's routines that normalize the text here where it would strip out white space and put it in camel case so that it's all one word, so JavaScript is happy with the names, and then say the course name colon is whatever course name they teach, and then the course description is whatever course description they teach. And this is how you would say select a control where, select the third item in the list from a user interface. So up here in select function, I can say run the example. And when I run that example, now it's drawing this window and saying the third row is this. And that's a message box. So we can have a pop-up that gives you information that you can just read. Another way to do that is to draw a user interface. And this is a function in this code down at the bottom, draw UI. And draw UI, I've created down here. It says create an app variable, and according to this graphical user interface, my GUI, load that component and produce the value. Now, graphical user interface, under File, Build a User Interface, is something where you can say, create a button, you just drag that over, you rename it, and then you put a label here. So this, my GUI, is a graphical user interface that I'm going to call from this code now. When I select Draw UI, I'm going to go ahead and run. When I run that, I go back and see I have a Get Row 3 label, and I have the result label, I have the Get Row 3 button and the label down here. Now this button has a function that it's attached to. When I click it, I get that window. So you can see how you can develop your own software for your specific needs for reporting that makes sense to everyday users, where you have, using these tutorials that I'm going to show you, the power to create, or I can assist you with creating this kind of function on your behalf, to create the answer to a problem, a very specific, sophisticated, detailed, difficult problem. Hopefully this has been helpful. Please feel free to check out my blog at educationtechnologist.blogspot.com and hit me up on Google+. You should see me on the left-hand or right-hand side of your Google+ page when you click your plus name under your circles. When you click circles, you'll be able to see friends and family, things along this line, and then in your email you'll be able to see other users that are available to do a Google Hangout or to get a consultation or just to call in tech support, call for help. You can find my question and answer page when you go to your plus name, and under communities you should see the Education Technology at Illinois College community, where you're free to request membership. I have sent out a lot of invitations already, and you can do a question and answer, look at the knowledge base, or put in a work order here, find tips and tricks, tutorials like this video I'm showing now, and that will be integrated and rolled up into the discussion where other people can comment, and that you can basically set up a community for your own class where you can put video tutorials like I'm creating now onto your own web page for ease of use of other users and people you're collaborating with. Thanks a lot, and God bless.